This is Kerrigan & Company. If you're looking for the latest and best technologies for skincare treatment, look no further than Sienna Aesthetics in Beverly. Sienna offers Botox, fillers, hydrofacials, and anti-aging facials, chemical peels, acne facials, microneedling with radio frequency, laser hair removal, and so much more. The fully certified medical staff at Sienna Aesthetics in Beverly will be with you every step of the way, making the process both educational and relaxing. Book your appointment now at siennaaesthetics.com. That's siennaaesthetics.com. Hi, everyone. This is Kim, and this week's episode is of Titanic proportions. This is Kerrigan & Company.
Kerrigan & Company is here for you. Yes, Kerrigan & Company is here for you.
Welcome, everybody, to Kerrigan & Company. So glad you could be with us for this episode, and I'm so glad about the person who's keeping me company, who trekked all the way from New York on this day that we're recording to make sure that he could be here with us. He has made a living talking to actors and actresses. He's made a living being an actor, and he's also an incredible author, and I'm so happy that he is here with me today. Nelson Aspen is here. Good to see you.
Thanks for making me part of the company, Kerrigan.
You are keeping me company today.
It shouldn't have been a trek. It really shouldn't have been, except that at 10 o'clock last night, from my happy home in Harlem, Amtrak sent me a text saying...
They were kind enough to send you a text.
Your train is indefinitely is the word, delayed. So I booked a second one, and then that was indefinitely. Anyway, I got here. I'm a little wrinkled, but I made it.
You look fantastic, and I so appreciate you doing that. Amtrak, it's got its really great points, but then it's got its moments where
better than Newark Airport.
Hey, listen, you hit the nail on the head there.
Somebody said, well, why don't you just fly? I'm like, are you out of your mind?
Right, exactly. You'd be better off going out and hitchhiking, I think, before you do that. Listen, introducing you, I was thinking about this actually driving here to the studio today. I mean, you have a resume that is incredible, Nelson. And I've said this to other who have been here in the studio before. I am always so impressed with people who have careers that were sustainable and could have sustained them. And you can count them on your fingers. I have one. I have a career that has been good to me, but it is amazing.
I'll dispute that later on. Keep going.
You have shifted, and it's amazing. So let's start from the very beginning of this incredible career. You started really as a journalist.
I started as a child actor.
Okay.
And when I went through living in New York City in the 80s, I wrote, my memoirs actually are called Dancing Between the Raindrops, because living in New York City in the 80s was an act of dancing between the raindrops. And I was an aspiring actor. Broadway didn't happen for me, but I did all the New York City soaps. That was the heyday. The 80s were the heyday of the New York City soaps. But once I'd exhausted that, where was I to go? And I went begrudgingly to Los Angeles. I had no interest in Los Angeles. And I ended up there for 22 years. And I now fondly say, 22 years in L.A., you get less time for murder. But I did it. And it gave me my journalism career.
Right.
Which unexpectedly has won me awards. It has gotten me book deals. It actually got me singing recognition, which I was pursuing in my teens and 20s. And there I am as a 40 or 50-year-old man singing at the Sydney Opera House or London's West End. So TV, and you understand this as well as anyone, TV afforded me opportunities that I wanted but could not have achieved unless I had just been the guy on TV. I wasn't the most talented singer or actor or writer, but I was on television. And the power of what my mother referred to as the idiot box or the boob tube.
Yep.
But the power of that is phenomenal. And when you say to me, as you just said in that introduction, which was very lovely, that you just did one thing, no. Au contraire. You not only did that for a long time very well, even Laurence Olivier couldn't keep something fresh for that many years, but now you have pivoted, and here we are.
Right.
And you will continue to pivot because we are sharks. And if you don't keep moving, you don't live.
Right, absolutely. Well, it is amazing to me the different avenues that you have taken to succeed in your life. And sometimes I think you're the perfect example. We all think it's a straight line from A to B. And I think you are such an example of how that's not the case.
You got to pivot. You can't plan for this. I went to college. I had to drop out of college to take a job on a soap opera.
There you go.
And as long as I kept working, I never went back. So you just, Lee Grant, remember Lee Grant,
sure.
the actress Lee Grant? She wrote her autobiography, and I believe, if I'm not mixing up a word or two, I said yes to everything. And I encourage, when I talk to young people who say, oh, I want to do what you do, I'm like, you can't. I can't give you a blueprint for this. You can only make your own blueprint.
Sure.
By saying yes to opportunities, trying things, kiss a few frogs. You're never going to meet your prince if you don't kiss a few frogs. Yep. That's how it goes.
Failure comes with it, though, doesn't it?
Yes, and that's why there's happy hour.
Yeah, I do the same thing when I talk to young people. I tell them, don't think that and a lot of times these are college students, that maybe what you're going to do in a year is what you're going to do for a lifetime. You just have to be open to experiences. The world is your oyster, young person. Be sure you go out there and take advantage.
Isn't it fun? I never thought, I'm the youngest of 5 children, so I've always been the youngest. In my whole existence, I was always the baby. And now, not so much. And I kind of love it. I love being the elder statesman. And I had good role models in my parents where I like to be, the wise old Uncle Nelson.
Absolutely. Well, I think you're doing a fabulous job. You mentioned this singing. I am so amazed. You have a cabaret show. You've won awards with your cabaret
I'm an award-winning.
I'm telling you, Nelson, I didn't even realize that you could win awards. I mean, and it's fabulous. Congratulations.
It wasn't
to
a
you.
Grammy, but it was a Broadway World Cabaret Award. I did a Tony Bennett tribute show last year, and that was fine. I had interviewed Tony Bennett in his home about his artwork. It was a very bespoke kind of interview. It was not about his singing or his fame. It was about his passion for painting. And it was so special that when he passed away, I was like, I've got this hot interview in his home. He was so generous with this. I'm going to turn this into a show where I'm not imitating Tony Bennett, but I will sing his arrangements and show the clips and tell the stories, and I had to follow that up. You can't win Best Show and not follow that up. So for 2025, I'm taking my new book and just cabareting-izing it.
I think it's a
I have
word.
to make that verb.
I think that's a verb.
I'm musicalizing my book into a cabaret show in July.
That's fantastic.
Just to keep the wheels greased.
Yeah. Okay, so you started as an actor, as you said, then went into television and you started to sing. And along the way here, you have been a writer. Now, was writing something that you thought as a kid actor that would eventually come
I was writing
forward?
novels on my little pads, while I was watching Wonder Woman and $6 Million Man. I was busy writing novels. But the books came about, again, just because I happened to be on television. I had a 30-year career in morning television as an entertainment reporter, interviewing all the A-list celebrities and doing all of that. So people just wanted to hear from me. And I would sneak out little tidbits about who I kissed and who was nice and who was naughty.
Sure.
So that led to my writing career.
Absolutely. So now we're 8 books in?
9.
This is
Kindred
number 9.
Spirits is number 9, and it's my first foray into historical fantasy because I've known, full disclosure, 62 in July, but I've known for all those 60 plus years that I had a connection to Titanic. And over the course of dreams, serendipity, deja vu, happenstance, coincidence, I pinpointed the obscure passenger. No, I'm not Molly Brown. I'm not John Jacob Astor. I'm not Captain Smith. I'm just this obscure passenger from Massachusetts named Milton Long. And I decided that Milton, who passed away at 29, his life was cut short. From the research I was able to do, he had a very unfulfilled and sad life. With all of his privilege, he was sad and unfulfilled. And I thought, maybe he's now here because I certainly am not sad. I am certainly not unfulfilled. And I can give Milton a little bit of fun. And the story is basically an odd couple story. You've got the repressed Edwardian
Yes.
with the flamboyant modern Manhattanite, and they've got to solve a mystery together. So it's history, but it's mystery.
Yes.
And
So-
it's naughty.
And yes, I know it's naughty.
Naughty.
Yeah, well, you got to have a little
Yeah.
naughty, I mean, page turner,
Yes.
right?
That's my stage name.
Page turner or naughty?
Page Turner.
Okay. So let me just ask you now, a lot of it, though, is historic because you have
Yep.
been a historian, which there you go. There's another one of your many traits. You've been a historian through the years where Titanic is concerned.
Yes.
You know a lot
I
about
have a
it.
long background with Titanic to the point of where now I co-host a very successful, who knew, Titanic podcast
Right.
called Titanic Talk. And it was one of those things, we just did it for a bit of fun, and now we have the most important figures in the Titanic world, that's a whole universe of itself, as you can imagine, talking to us. We do Titanic conventions, and that's why I wrote the book. I wanted, where's my Titanic legacy? I know
Right.
about Milton on the inside, but I needed to put it down on paper so that here we are 113 years later, and now Milton Long of Springfield, Massachusetts, is no longer a footnote. He now has a starring role.
So let me just ask you about Milton here, and we're gonna talk more. We're gonna have to take a break here in a moment because we've got another guest who's gonna be knocking on our
singing
door.
guest.
Yes, but before we do so, do you believe that Milton has always lived in you, or have you learned about the Titanic and thus you believe that you could have been like Milton? Am I making that clear?
Yeah, no. I think
Where do you think Milton has
don't
come to you?
necessarily gravitate toward the metaphysical. That's not my thing. I'm much more of a pragmatist. However, when you have a series of dreams that match up with Milton's life, when people are mistakenly calling me Milton, I can't even go to Starbucks without saying, Milton, your latte's ready. I mean, it's 2025. Who's using the name Milton? And yet, it happens all the time. And in 1985, when oceanographer Robert Ballard discovered the wreck of the Titanic, which was monumental news, that week in 1985, he was the most famous man in the world.
Absolutely.
He was on the cover of everything, and I was like a snot-nosed 22, 23-year-old kid, and I was like, I got to get in touch with Dr. Ballard. I got to work on that excavation. And I somehow contacted him, and when he got off hold from the secretary that put me on hold, he said, hello, Milton? And that's when I knew it's real.
Well,
I can't deny it. It's real.
Yeah, I love the concept of the book. I just think it is, and because there's historic facts and there's a whole lot of entertainment, and then it's one of those that just makes you stop and go,
And it's
think it
naughty.
through. And it's naughty.
You know, they did have sex on the Titanic. I can tell you.
We're going to talk more about the book, how you can get your hands on it, and there's something special happening here in Boston this week. So we're going to share that for those of you who are going to listen and watch the podcast as soon as it drops. So that's coming up in just a few minutes. But we've got a guest coming to join us.
Yep.
And as someone who really appreciates, Hollywood and singers and all those kinds of things, this woman at one point was Glinda on Broadway, and we all know what that voice is all about, right? So she's here making a Broadway debut in Boston in a show, and we're going to chat with her in just a moment. This is Kerrigan & Company.
Have you tried Rumson Rum yet? This smooth, sweet, memorable rum is distilled in the Caribbean, barreled aged, and then blended, finished, and bottled in Salem, Massachusetts. Rumson's offers 4 unique blends: Gold, Spice, Grand Reserved, and Coffee. Before you start to sip or mix your next cocktail, ask yourself, do I want to enjoy New England's most awarded rum brand? If the answer is yes, the answer is Rumson's. Get Rumson's rum at liquor stores or ask for it by name at your favorite restaurant. Rumson's. Life lived, life enjoyed.
Don't miss Waitress. With new music by Sarah Bareilles, this musical celebration is the perfect recipe for love and laughter. On stage at Bill Haney's North Shore Music Theater from June 3rd through June 15th. Order up your tickets at nsmt.org.
This segment of Kerrigan & Company is brought to you by Lucia Lighting and Design, where people in the know go for the best possible lighting and design experience. Welcome back, everyone, to Kerrigan and Company. So good to have you with us. Keeping me company today is Nelson Aspin. He is an entertainment reporter, but he is also the author of a new book. I want to make sure we say the name of the book. It's Kindred Spirits, A Titanic Tale.
Oh, it's Titanic, it's naughty, it's historical, it's fantastical.
It is. And you're here in Boston for a reason related to it, and we're going to chat about that in just a couple of minutes.
We have some singers to talk to.
I know we do.
At the moment. She is beautiful.
Yes, she is, and she is another New Yorker. But visiting our
I'm going to have her over.
Here.
If she ever leaves Boston, I'm going to have her over to Harlem.
Laura Woyasz is with us here on Kerrigan and Company, and she is one of the stars of a show that's over at Emerson Colonial Theater through May the 18th. It's Kimberly Akimbo. Did you get to see that in New York?
I saw it on Broadway. Huge hit, so beloved. And she was a star on Broadway in Wicked.
Yes.
So to follow that up with Kimberly Akimbo,
right.
I'm kind of impressed, and I don't impress easily.
Laura,
Thank you. Yeah, I love being here. I love the show. And I'm originally from New England. I'm from Hartford, Connecticut. So I've been to Boston many times. I love it here. It's a great place that to be for 2 whole weeks is it's like almost a vacation because there's so many fun things to do every day. And I went to the Red Sox game last week during the day.
Good for you. Well, Mother Nature is putting on a show for you finally, so I'm glad that you could be here during this time period. You play Pattie in the show, which is Kimberly's mom.
Yes.
So talk to us a little bit about this part and what it means to you.
Yeah, Pattie. God, I love playing Pattie. I think she is such a fabulously flawed human. And, you mentioned Wicked. Glinda is, she's popular, she's perfect, she's fluffy, she's, everything is, she arrives in a bubble and, ball gowns. And Pattie is not that at all, which I love. She plays Kimberly's mother, and she's just a regular mom trying to do her best. And she does fall short a lot of the times, which I also love. It's a very human thing. She has a daughter who has a rare genetic disorder. And her daughter will eventually no longer be here. She will outlive her daughter. And I think that's it's woven into the story in such a funny, weird way. You wouldn't expect it to be funny, but it's hilarious. And then there are moments that are heartbreaking. And as an actor, I really love diving into, why Pattie does certain things. She's a mom and she makes some really bad choices, right? She doesn't do the best momming all the time, but she does the best she can do in these circumstances. And she's a little bit of a hypochondriac. She's a little bit of a narcissist. But for me, that comes from this great pain she has of eventually losing her daughter someday sooner rather than later. She just turned 16, and that life expectancy is 16. So for me, it's interesting to have that layered underneath everything I do. Otherwise, you're just wow, she's a bad mom, right? She's not a bad mom. She's not a bad person.
She's a human mom.
She's a human mom. Right.
I'm so curious.
She's just sort of I'll make it about me, and then I don't have to deal with, oh my gosh, my daughter's has this disease, know, and I think that's her coping mechanism.
I want to know how you would go from being known as Glinda, which is the whole show could not be more different from Kimberly Akimbo. And now in a post-COVID age, actors are asked to audition on videotape. This horrible videotape world of auditioning, which is so different from my failed Broadway early days. So tell me, how did they come to think of you from going from Glinda to going to this other role, and what did you have to do to win the part?
You know what? I don't know how they thought of me, but I am so glad they did. I saw the show one time in New York, and I was like, wow, I really I really love the show. I love the message. I love the humanity. I love the hope that you leave with at the end. I think it impacts people. Like, that's the kind of work I like doing. And I took it upon myself to just independently learn the music. I just started, trying to sing the songs and learn it on my own. And I took them to my voice teacher and I was like, these are the songs from the show. In case I ever get that call for an audition, and I was learning all of Pattie's songs and learning all of Deborah's songs, just in case, to cover all my bases. And I worked on the music by myself with my voice teacher for months. And I had to put it out to my agent, like, I love this show. If anything ever comes up, like, please push for me. But it's interesting you mentioned the tapes, because my only audition was on tape.
Wow.
And it was to understudy Deborah and Pattie. So I was like, well, I've been working on this material by myself just in case I got this call. So I kind of knew it, which is, it's always kind of scary when they're like, okay, it's Friday at 6:00. This is due Monday at 10 a.m. And then you have all this material to learn. And I wasn't in that position because I had already been working on it. And I was like, I don't know if I don't know if I want to cover. I've covered so much. Cover is another word for understudy. And I was like, you know what, though? I love this show and I owe it to myself. I've been working on it already, so why not just throw it on tape and send it in? And that's what I did. I didn't spend a whole lot of time on it. I mean, I did, 10 takes, whatever. Normally I do like 3,000.
Yeah, but you were ready. You'd been working on that music forever. I
just sort of was like, if it's going to happen, it's going to happen, but I should at least try.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they got back to me and they're like, you're not right for the cover. And I was like, oh, okay. But my agent was like, they really liked what you did with the mom stuff. And I said, okay. And they were like, we'll keep you on file. And I was like, great. I guess I'll talk to you never, because that's
that's the line.
Keep me on file.
Keep you on
like,
file,
all right. And then they a couple months went by and the tour was like launching, and my agent was called and they said, hey, they've cast the mom, but she's not staying for a long time. She's going to be done in January. They want to know your interest and availability. And I was like, well, yes and yes, but like for the cover? And they're like, no, for the mom.
Wow, that's great.
I was like, yeah, do I need to go back in? Do I need to learn more material? Do I need to send in more songs? Like, go in person, have a callback, do a dance call? I don't know. You have to do all these things. And they're like, I don't know. They didn't mention that.
So this was a dream show for you. Like, I know what my dream shows would be. What's your next dream show? Like, let's just get it out there. After this, what would the next dream role, dream show be?
Well, honestly, I'm obsessed with Dolly Parton.
Oh, yes. Well, who isn't? Now you can get her Scent. It's Scent from Above. It's available at Walmart, apparently.
I did not know that. I did not know that.
Are Scent, her wine, her baked goods, like her music, her everything. So I would honestly, I would do anything to be anything in that show. Like, I would love to, like, maybe stand by for one of the Dollys. They're doing an out-of-town trial in Nashville this summer. And then I don't know what the plan is, but I think that's the next one I would be really excited to do. I don't care. I would be like a tree. I would literally be a tree in that show.
You got to put it out there.
Absolutely. Well, listen, we'll keep our fingers crossed for that. How do you like the idea? I know, with Wicked, obviously you stayed in New York, but now here you are out traveling the countryside. How do you like that?
It's great. The thing I love about it is almost every city I've had friends come that I haven't seen in a decade, right? Like, why would I ever be in Durham, North Carolina, right? What would bring me there? But every city, like someone from my college or someone from my childhood, or just someone from, another show I've worked in. Now they've moved to Boston. Like, oh, you live here. Oh, great. I'm here for 2 weeks. I love getting to see people that if I were just in New York doing a show, I wouldn't get to see. And just getting to see places that I wouldn't normally travel to. So it's really good. The travel part it's a grind, but it's part of the gig, right? It's just, that's what we sign up for. So
Well, as a New Yorker, I'm like, what did you do with your apartment? Did you have it sublet? Do you have a boyfriend, a girlfriend? Is somebody in there? Who's taking care of the cat and the plants?
I wish I could sublet. I'm not allowed to sublet in my building. So it's just sitting there and I'm empty. And I have a friend checking my mail that lives in my building.
Okay.
Well, I've got to find out where her building is because that's a place for my kids live in New York. I can come and maybe stay in your apartment while you're away.
Somebody should.
Yeah.
I have a Christmas tree all year long and a little fireplace. It's so cozy. Go stay there.
I love that. That sounds great. Well, it's a great show, and we don't want to tell really the full plot line. You've done a really good job of sort of explaining that she has a genetic issue and that ultimately she's going to die. So we'll leave it at that. But it is really must be very interesting to play the mother of someone who is older than you are.
It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool. I and I really like that was the choice that they made. They didn't hire a 16-year-old
Right.
and put age makeup on her.
Right.
Her disorder is she ages 4 times faster than,
Right.
so she's 16, but she looks like she's in her 60s. So
Which would really be lousy.
I really like that and respect that they hired an older female actress to lead this show. Because as we get older, I think the roles can get smaller and you can, you're like the little old lady or like the funny neighbor, but she's the star of the show, and it's an older, Carolee Carmello is Broadway royalty. She's incredible. She's a machine powerhouse. Her Kimberly is so tender and vulnerable, and you really think you're watching a teenage kid, like truly. So it's odd, but oddly beautiful. I love how I love playing her mom. It's so cool. But it's also like very, very hopeful. It's not a depressing show at all. Like you mentioned, she's gonna die, but that's not the theme of the show. Right. It's just something that ultimately at some point will happen.
Kind of a coming of age. It's a coming of age story.
Oh God, yeah. She has her first crush. She's in a new school. She's like trying to meet friends and looking different, but like fitting in, and it takes place in the 90s before cell phones. And we ice skate. We really ice skate. We ice skate. Everyone's like, oh, that's a trick. I'm like, no, we're really ice skating.
It's great. Well, the show is again there at Emerson. It's there through May the 18th. It's Kimberly Akimbo, and if you haven't had a chance to see it, folks, be sure that you get some tickets and get over and see it before it leaves the city. Thank you so much.
You. This is so fun. This is my first podcast.
Well, you're a delight. You're an old pro.
You are. You've been terrific. And when you get that part in that Dolly Parton show, we'll have you back. Okay. How about that? Okay. Yeah. All right, Laura. Thank you so much. Best of luck.
Thanks. Thank you. Have a great day.
You too. This is Kerrigan and Company. Well, we did it. We survived another New England winter. As the days get longer, it's time to plan ahead and think about landscape and outdoor lighting. My friends at Lucia Lighting and Design in Lynn can help you get your landscape and outdoor living spaces ready for summer. They'll work with you to plan a space that's well lit, comfortable, and secure. After all, outdoor lighting is like adding a room to your home. Get started by going to lucialighting.com and then make an appointment to visit their beautiful showroom in Lynn, Massachusetts. That's lucialighting.com. This segment of Kerrigan and Company is brought to you by Bill Haney's North Shore Music Theater. Learn all about this year's shows at nsmt.org. Welcome back, everybody, to Kerrigan and Company. Keeping me company today, Nelson Aspen. He is a entertainment reporter. He's an actor. He's an author. I haven't mentioned that he's a marathon runner. Oh my goodness. Yeah. I could just keep going and going.
Check out these calves, baby.
So good to have you here. We've had a great time so far. Beautiful Laura. Oh boy.
She was great.
Yeah. Doesn't she have that Glinda voice, though? I have to say.
She does. I don't want to put her in a bubble.
I know. No pun intended, but she's terrific. So, Kimberly Akimbo, make sure you check it out. It's a great show, and it's going to be here in Boston again until the 18th of the month. Let's talk about our next guest. We always ask our co-hosts if there's someone in particular they might like to invite on as a guest, and someone that they feel strongly about and maybe have some history with. And you brought this fabulous woman to us. So I'm going to leave it right there and let you take it away.
I am honored to introduce you because my salad days, my background is in daytime television, my earliest days from the 80s. And this woman was an icon when I was starting out in soaps. She has been what Laurence Olivier or I don't know, pick your greatest actors. No actor could keep a role interesting for 4+ decades unless there was something special. And my good friend Kate Linder has been doing that with the character of Esther Valentine on Daytime's record-breaking #1 soap opera, The Young and the Restless. There isn't a person alive who has not seen Kate's face at one point or another on The Young and the Restless. And here she is now from her car on the side of the road in Los Angeles. I'm sure
pulled over for us. No
somewhere
less.
in the back seat is a feather duster from 1981. Kate, so good to see you, honey. Thanks for coming in.
Oh, I'm so glad to see both of you, and thank you for that lovely introduction. That was so sweet of you.
Well, no one can keep a job for 40 years. I mean, I was lucky. I kept my job for 30 years, and I thought I was special. But you've been doing it. What you just celebrated an anniversary, no?
Yeah, well, you are special, Nelson. But I've, 43 years and counting.
Wow,
I have to say the
Kate.
and counting part.
It's fantastic. I just recently saw, I mean, you're the only person I know who has their own action hero. She has her own doll with a little
feather duster.
Yes,
the feather
exactly.
duster. It's an important.
Esther has her own doll, and then of course you, Kate, have your own star.
Yes, I'm so honored. I have to go there periodically, make sure it's still there. Because I can't believe it's there in the first place.
She got the star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. What year was that? And most importantly, in my opinion, where is it positioned? Like, whose star is literally spitting distance?
It's 7021 Hollywood Boulevard.
Wow.
Not that I don't know the address. And I received it on April 10th, 2008. I can't believe it's been that long.
Oh, that's so
yes,
great.
I'm so honored.
Okay, congratulations to you. What's it like to play that same character for so many years? I mean, are there times when your life crosses over with Esther's? I mean, I would think that sometimes you become one and the same.
Well, I don't know. It had to be great acting because it was something my family never heard, which was my very first line was, "Dinner is served." So I don't know how it crosses over, but I love the character, and so many things have happened in the course of 43 years, and of course I was able to work with Jeannie Cooper, Mrs. Chancellor, and I so miss her. And
a slew of Jills. You went through a bunch of
manager
Jills.
at the coffee house and at Chancellor, working at Chancellor as a receptionist. So I have all these jobs now.
Right.
And Esther is a grandmother. You've been involved in intrigue and romance. And of course, seeing you is always a familiar feeling. It makes you feel warm. That's why people watch Daytime.
100%. You're so
They
right.
want the familiarity. It's the family that they don't have to fret over. This is the family that they can just that they literally can take for granted. And I don't think anybody does take Kate for granted. And you also, what I think is so special, Kate, is you're not just providing that value to the show, but you do so much for the daytime community, your tea parties, your charitable work. Tell us about your off-camera work.
Well, we just got back actually from Toronto. We did an event for the charity After Breast Cancer, and Christian LeBlanc and Brighton James and Sean Kerrigan, Connor Floyd, they all came up with me. And then Michelle Morgan was in town, so she came as well. And we raised a lot of money. I haven't gotten we just got back, so I haven't gotten the final total yet, but it was like 50. Sorry, someone's making me move here.
Oh, poor Kate, on the side of the road in Los Angeles.
Yeah, it's crazy. I've never done this before. This is a good one. I remember this. Anyway, we raised like over, $50,000. I mean, close to 100. I think it's really great. I'm also celebrity spokesperson for the ALS network, and I'm the ambassador for lupus, and I do a lot for the LA Mission. I just think it's really, really important to give back.
Sure.
And I'm so fortunate to do what I love to do, and I'm so lucky. So if I can give back and help in any way, then I'm definitely going to do that.
And she's big on Instagram. She does
I know she does Sundays every. I see that every Sunday, which is awesome.
It's terrific.
Absolutely.
And the things what some people don't know about Kate, if those of us who are old enough to remember, she started out when she started on the show. She was simultaneously working as a flight attendant. So people would be, stewardess, may I have some nuts? Right. That was when they called them stewardesses. They don't do that anymore.
Am.
You're still doing it?
Flight attendant for United. Yeah.
You still do?
Absolutely.
So how frequently do you fly?
Yeah. Why?
How frequently?
Is that what you said, Kat?
How frequently do you fly?
I'm sorry, you're breaking up here, or I'm breaking up.
That's okay. I said, how frequently do you fly for United?
Well, I usually, stay pretty close to home in case I have to get back and do an appearance or something. So I'll go to Hawaii and back, or Denver and back, or
so fun.
San Francisco and back. And
that's so great.
It was really neat because a few months ago they had World Flight Attendant Day, and CBS followed me on a flight, and that was a lot of fun. That was really fun.
Kate, you certainly are known for your daytime acting, but you've done things beyond daytime.
Oh, yes, absolutely. I mean, I have a film out with Kate Hudson and Don Johnson and Michael Shannon, and I started in theater, so I started on the stage. So I'm a singer dancer, and that's how I began.
Yeah.
But I've done lots of films for Gary Marshall, Mother's Day, and I'm really happiest when I'm working, and if I can make people feel good even for a little bit, then that makes me happy.
43 years is not a little bit.
No, it's not.
That is a big bit.
I have to tell you, Kate, I lost my grandma. I was very, very close to her, and I lost her. I think it was 2015. She never missed Young and the Restless, not once. And I watched All My Children as well. She'd talk all the way through All My Children, but the minute that the Young and the Restless came on, she would turn and say not another word. So she never missed an episode. That is for certain. So I never hear that music that I don't think of my grandma, and how wonderful. And the soap operas there are so many fewer now than when I was younger and was watching them on a regular basis. Tell me about that atmosphere. Does it seem different to you? Has it changed?
Well, actually, there's a new one now.
Right.
So Beyond the Gates.
Right.
On CBS. So you can't tell me that, I don't know, I lost you here.
Oh, there you go.
You can't tell me that soaps are dead. They're definitely not.
Yeah.
And Young and the Restless is #1 show, and I'm so honored and proud to be part of it. I mean, yes, in the beginning, there were a lot more. There were several in New York, and those unfortunately aren't there anymore. But I'm really happy that Beyond the Gates is here, because it's really great for the genre.
Yeah, and it just got picked up for a second season. And it was interesting, if you follow the ratings, Beyond the Gates has lifted the ratings for all the other shows because it's got people interested in, I got to start paying attention to daytime again.
Absolutely.
So it's a resurgence.
Yeah.
It's
That's
time.
good.
Yeah, it's time. I think Esther needs a new man. Maybe a stable boy, perhaps. Yeah.
I think she needs to jump over back and forth to make that bridge back and forth. That sounds like a great idea.
Yeah, that would be fun. I mean, I was so honored because I was able to I did last year 5 shows over on Bold and Beautiful.
Right.
And I really, really enjoyed. They crossed my character over there.
Yeah.
So
that's great.
That was great.
That is terrific.
You're an icon.
That's it.
I don't know about
you're
that.
You're a daytime icon.
She's an icon up and down the CBS daytime. So what's in the future for you, ma'am?
I don't know. We'll just see. We'll just keep working. I just got back doing my event in Canada. It's been a tea for almost 25 years. And this was the first time we had it as a brunch, and people really seem to enjoy that. So we'll see. Wow. I started out in Victoria, and then I did one in Vancouver, and then Toronto and Calgary. And but since the pandemic, things have changed.
Sure.
But we're in Toronto still, so we'll just keep going, and we'll see what happens.
Super. Great. Well, it's an incredible career, and we all look forward to the future for Esther and what's going to happen to her there on Young and the Restless. And maybe we'll have to stay tuned in for the rest of the day. You might just be jumping all over the time slots, right?
I don't know, but I so enjoyed being here with you guys, and
thank you for pulling to the side of the road.
Sorry, it's a little crazy here.
Oh, no.
Hey, I'm glad to see you've got your seatbelt fastened. I'm assuming you've got 2 hands on the wheel and drive safely.
Yeah, well, I pulled up. I'm not driving. I don't want anyone to think that I'm driving.
Yeah.
It's like I've done my Sunday messages. I started doing those when the pandemic started, and this last Sunday was number 268. Wow. I keep them like a minute short, minute. And I do lots of them from the car, and I have to tell people, I'm not driving. Don't worry, I'm not driving.
All right, next time, pop a beer while you're doing it, just to really get it going.
But I'm not drinking it. Kate Linder, thank you so much for being a part of Kerrigan & Company today. Appreciate it.
Bye, love.
Well, I love you guys. I enjoyed being here, and maybe we could do it again someday when I'm not on the side of the road.
It's a deal. It's a deal. Thanks, Kate, so much.
Okay.
All right. When we come back, we'll wrap things up. Stay with us, everybody. This is Kerrigan & Company.
It's a perfect mix of sugar, butter, and flour. Waitress is the hit Broadway musical baked from the heart with new music by Sarah Bareilles on stage at North Shore Music Theater from June 3rd through June 15th. Order up your tickets at nsmt.org.
Beach season is almost here, and that means we're all exposing a little more skin. Are you ready? If not, you need to make an appointment with my friends at Sienna Aesthetics Medical Spa in Beverly. Thanks to their new Clarity 2 laser, they're offering the best in hair removal, photo facials to get rid of those age and sunspots, and how about those spider veins that have popped up? Well, Clarity 2 can take those away as well. Add a facial to your visit and get 20% off. Go to siennaaesthetics.com to make an appointment. That's siennaaesthetics.com. This segment of Kerrigan & Company is brought to you by Sienna Aesthetics Medical Spa. Take years off your face with the very latest technologies at Sienna Aesthetics in Beverly. It's that time of the show that we wrap things up, and Nelson Aspen is with me today. We've got a few more things we need to take care of, let me tell you. The first is we do this thing called Fast Five. So it's rapid fire questions.
I was not warned of this.
Yeah, we ask that you try to answer them within 30 seconds. Total. That wouldn't be per.
Okay.
All right. So if you're ready, here we go. In 3, 2, and 1. What's your favorite show that you're watching right now on a streaming service?
Oh, Hacks.
Very good. If you could own one artifact from the Titanic, what would it be?
I've owned artifacts from the Titanic before, and I think if something can't love you back, let it go. So nothing. I'd love to have something of Milton's.
There you go.
How about that?
Best place you have performed your cabaret show?
The Sydney Opera House.
Yeah, that's incredible.
I mean,
what do you buy more than most people buy?
Gin. Olives? How about olives? Let's go with olives.
And who's the one actor or actress that you haven't had a chance to interview that you'd like to?
Oh, Madonna. She's sort of an actress. Let's go with Madonna.
Absolutely, she certainly is. Why?
I had an interview scheduled with her, and she backed out. It was a scheduling conflict, and we never rescheduled. So
That's too bad.
Yeah,
Who was
well.
one of your favorites?
Oh, I have a lot of favorites, but I do like the old timers because they have a sense of abandonment. They've got nothing to hide. They've seen it all. They have the best stories. The Betty Whites, the Julie Andrews, the Clint Eastwoods, the Christopher Plumbers, the Eva Marie Saints.
Sure.
Give me a veteran.
People who had huge fame and then
and have
sort of
nothing
ran
to
their-
lose
right.
by telling it all now.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so impressive. Who was the worst one? There's always a worst.
Well, you know what? Kevin Spacey is a pill.
Yeah.
Just really an unpleasant fellow. Vin Diesel, as charming as he is when he gets there, he has kept me waiting maximum 7 hours, minimum 2 hours.
What?
And it's so disrespectful that I will never do that again. Like my time's a little more valuable than that.
Absolutely.
So, but then there are the ones that you just are always consistent, like a Julie Andrews, like a Hugh Jackman. And I've now started recently reporting politics. I do a weekly political commentary for a British morning show,
Right.
GB News, and I'm there every weekend. And it's really no different than celebrity commentary because they're celebrities. They're just of a different genre.
Absolutely.
And I'm really enjoying that now. It's stretching some new muscles.
Absolutely. Good for you. Yeah. And keeping you abreast of what's going on in the world for sure. We want to talk about the book again, Kindred Spirits, A Titanic Tale. I want to show the book cover here, and we'll obviously take some more pictures of it so the folks who are watching on YouTube can see it. This book, you call it an historic fantasy.
Yes, it's largely based on history, but with the fantasy of my filling in the blanks about Milton Long's life, his unrequited love aboard the Titanic. And that's based on letters, correspondence, historical facts, visiting his cemetery where he's buried here in Springfield, Massachusetts. Milton had a very sad life for all the privilege that he had in his 29 years. And even his death certificate said that he was a, quote, gentleman of leisure. But he was unfulfilled. He was a university dropout from both Harvard and Columbia, from a very successful family, but he had no personal success. A young man of his time at age 29 would have been expected to have been married with children. He wasn't. He had the companionship of another young, very handsome man from Philadelphia area. And if you read between the lines in their correspondence and their story, I think there was an unrequited love there.
Sure.
And there has not been a gay story told about Titanic. There are different male couples from Titanic that were rumored, and there's innuendo about that. But I wanted to tell Milton's story as I felt it should be told.
Sure, absolutely. How did you run into Milton being on the Titanic?
Well, I'd always had a fascination with maritime disasters, for lack of that sounds a little morbid, but I'm not alone. Believe me, there's a large community of, I call them Titaniacs, but we are obsessed with the idea of these disasters at sea. And it's really no different from those of us who can remember the 1970s and 80s craze of disaster movies.
Sure.
Towering Inferno, Poseidon Adventure, Earthquake. We all wanted to see that scenario of you throw a diverse group of people into this situation and see who survives. Who do you get behind? So I'd had a fascination, thanks to the Poseidon Adventure, with maritime disasters and stories and tales, and a series, as I mentioned, of dreams and coincidences, deja vu, all led me to Milton.
Wow. Because, I think we all know some of the big names of the individuals who were on the boat, but there were a lot of people who were on that ship. And so the idea that you found...
There are thousands of stories to tell.
Right. You found Milton is amazing.
And tragically, we talk about Milton, but Milton, in my mind, his unrequited love, Jack Thayer, Jack Thayer survived and went on to marry, have 4 children, but violently committed suicide at age 50.
Wow.
And what I talk about a lot in my podcast, Titanic Talk, in the book, Kindred Spirits, the sort of unexplored aspect of survivor's guilt, especially for men.
Sure.
Women and children first in the boats.
Right.
So any man that survived had this terrible survivor's guilt. Plus, like a 9/11, the Titanic disaster was something unprecedented and global. Nobody had ever seen or experienced anything like that on that scale ever before.
Sure.
So there is tremendous post-traumatic stress. So in addition to the survivor's guilt, in addition to the PTSD, there were no happy endings, even if you got back.
Sure, absolutely, right. And so many of the people, the women and the children who got back, left people behind.
Yes, and
So
still,
they
we're still
without
traumatized.
them. Absolutely, as a result of that. Well, it's fantastic. Where can folks get hold of the book?
Grab it on Amazon
Okay.
or anywhere your books are sold. And being in Boston, if you see this in time, May 14th, I will be here in Boston at the Titanic exhibition at the Castle at Park Plaza from 3 to 5 in the afternoon, answering questions, signing copies. But if you can't make it to that, check my website, nelsonaspen.com. And I'm on to Baltimore, I'm on to London, and I'm very excited. I'm on to Belfast,
Wow,
which is
good
where
for
the
you.
Titanic was built.
Right.
So I'll be at the Titanic Hotel, Museum, Distillers. I'll be on hallowed ground.
Yes.
And then on to Hong Kong and Sydney, Australia. So I'm getting
Good
around
for
this
you,
year. This
Nelson. It's
this is my
fantastic.
Titanic year, baby.
Absolutely. You're doing it big is what
Yes.
you're doing. Kindred Spirits, A Titanic Tale. Nelson Aspen is his name. Be sure that you grab a copy of the book. And again, if you see this in time,
If you're
the
over
14th.
18. If you're over
18, yes. if you see this podcast in time, the 14th and from 3 to 5, there at the Titanic exhibition. You are planning to write more books. I know you have a trilogy, do you not?
Yes,
that's coming out?
The Dancing Between the Raindrops, which I
Okay.
teased earlier, which is
Yeah.
basically my memoirs. And I did the first installment was my crazy life in the 80s New York City. The second installment was my crazy life in Hollywood in the 90s and aughts. And the third book will come out in early 2026, and that's my happily ever after, where I have found my happily ever after, and here I am getting to have a little bit of it with you.
This has been so much fun.
Agreed.
It's so much
You're
success.
so generous.
It is amazing. Again, we started this whole thing out with me saying, if you see this resume, you just can't imagine. It suddenly dawned on me that I threw in marathons because, you're a marathon runner in addition.
Luckily, the desk
gracious.
cuts me off. But if you look under the desk there, I'll show you my tattoos on my. There you go. I'll pull my pant leg up.
Oh my, I'm blushing. You have to be over 18 to watch this.
I never pull my pants up for anyone under 18, for sure.
Nelson, thank you. Thank you so much. Continued success. And thank you to all of you for being a part of the show today. It was a great, fun episode. We're so glad you could be here. Ask you to be sure that you watch it on YouTube and you subscribe, and be sure that you follow us on all of our social media platforms. And until next time, have a great week. Thanks, everybody, for listening to Kerrigan and Company. To find out who will keep me company and be my co-host on the next episode, be sure you follow us on Instagram, Facebook, X, and TikTok. Kerrigan and Company is recorded at the Big Night Studios at the TD Garden in Boston. You can view the podcast on YouTube and listen to it wherever you get your podcasts. Be sure you tell a friend. The executive producer of Kerrigan and Company is David Thompson. Our engineer is Peter Hurley, and our social media managers are Grace Kerrigan, Colby Thompson, and Riley Thompson. See you next time.